Hello friends, welcome to C# Intermediate to Advanced tutorial. In this sub-series, we are going to learn about ICloneable interface and when we should implement this interface for our class. So before we start with the example, first let us understand what is value type and reference type. So let us consider this example and we will assume that this is inside a function called fx. So a stack frame will get created for each and every function call, and whatever is the function which is staying in the top in the call stack, and that functions call stack frame will be active. Suppose if a calls fx will be in the top and stack frame of fx will be active. So once the fx returns, then stack frame of a will be active. So that's how here you are seeing stack frame of fx. Here inside fx we have a variable called x and it get initialized to 15. So in stack frame we have a memory location reserved for a, and the location contains the actual value of 15. So that means here we will be having a bit pattern to represent the number 15. So we can simply say the stack frame has a memory location a and that contains a value 15. So in the next statement, so this is variable x, and while executing the statement b, we have variable y and that get initialized to 0. So this is the content of stack frame, and while executing a statement c, here you can see the variable that get affected is y, and here we will be assigning a new value for y. That means the location here 10, or we can say they both point to the same location, and here instead of 0 we will be having 10. So this is what value type means. So here we can say this is the memory content. Memory content contains actual value. Here if you see, previously it was 0, then it got replaced by 10 by executing the statement c. Alright, so this is value type, and the values are directly stored into the stack frame. So in C# we will use the keyword new to allocate some memory on heap. So once again we will consider the stack frame here is for fx, stack frame for fx. Let's say this is the first statement you are executing. So a space will be allocated for n1. So instead of n1, let me specify here itself, space will be allocated for n1, and here the content is not a value type, so it's a reference. So what happens, let's say this is a heap. So in heap location, a class called a number. So a number, let's say it contains only one field called n, and let's assume that it is an integer. So what happens here, a number, that's the class instance or object we are creating with a new. So an instance will get created on the heap. So the data member is n, right? So the content will be created on the heap and its address location is stored here in the stack. So in stack frame, we actually have the address association to the heap. So here the content is not value, it's a reference. Here we directly store the value. Here instead of storing the value, we store the heap location. Let's say if it is some 0x, that will be stored here, the address or the naming association for or the memory location for this heap will get stored here, and that get pointed out by this n1. So definitely there will be some space allocated for the variable or reference type n1, and the content of this n1 is location of some address location in the heap, and in that heap location we have a slot reserved for this integer n. All right, here we have one more n2. n2 here is pointing to nothing, so here the bit patterns are null. That means it is not pointing any heap location at this moment when we execute this statement. Next, if you see n1 dot n, that means n1, we are referring a stack dot n1 moving to heap, and we access the member n, then we assign value 10 here. So this is how reference type work. If you see x, address x, that is here in the stack frame, and we access that heap location using this dot notation, then we are assigning the value. That means we are not assigning 10 here, but we are assigning it to the heap location, right? Next, what happens, n2 here is empty, right? So this statement is explored. Now let's consider this one, n2 equal to n1. That means content will get copied between two stack location, n1 which is already here. Now the content here previously null. Now what happens, n2 will be null, will get replaced by this x, right? Content of n1 is x, and that same bit pattern will get copied here. That means the address location is copied here. So after executing this statement, now n2 is looking at this memory location. So now we can say n1 as well as n2 both are looking at the heap location dot x or 0x, whatever you can call. So they both looking at the same memory location. Now what we are doing this time, we are using n2. n2 is the stack location, so address content is 0x, I mean address is 0x dot n. Through this address we dereference, and n we access that heap location n, then we are assigning 15. So 10 get cancelled, and here we have 15. So here if you see, we used n2 dot n equal to 15. Now if you print n1 dot n, it will still show 15. I mean it will show 15. It won't show 10. Why? Because both are pointing to the same location. So this is the difference you have to note here. Suppose if it is not a heap location, and here if you see, let's consider this x and y, right? And y is 10. All three statements are executed from D. Here in the value type, let us say we are stating y equal to x, then x equal to 12. So the moment you say y equal to x, the content of x will get copied to y. So y becomes 15. Next we change x equal to 12. That means the content will get changed to 12. And if you see, these are all a separate location, and when you read x and y, since it is not pointing to the same location like this, once you change, you still see the changed value. That means when you print x, you will be seeing a 12. Why? Because that's what we lastly assigned. And y, when you print, it was previously 10, but the content of x is moved to y, so y will be having 15. So I hope now you have the understanding of what is value type and reference type. So this basic knowledge is required when we implement the clonable interface for our custom classes. So a custom class can have a value type, or it can have a reference type as well. So for example, student, a student class can have integer, age, address, ADR. If you see here clearly, the student is a class object, and when you create this class object, definitely you will use new. That means the student instance will get created here in the heap. It contains two locations. One is to store integer and another one is to store address. So here this will be the content, whatever you store as age. Say for example, if you store 10, then that will get directly stored here, but address is a instance of some other class. That means, so already this is in heap location, and if you point to some other address, that will point to some other location in the heap. And here the address location itself in the heap. Why? Because when you create a student, you will go with a new student. So all this stuff you will understand when we progress through this example. That's all here in this video. So it just gives you the basic idea of what is value type and what is reference type, and how the stack content is used to store the value type values directly. And in case of instance creation using the new keyword, both will get involved, both in the sense the stack frame as well as heap location. In stack, we use here, if you see, n1 reference variable type, a number, this is a class instance type. There are two type involved here. n1 is reference type. n1 is allocated on the stack to store some heap location. Then in the actual heap location, instance of a number that will get created, right? So these are all the difference, or these are all the basic stuff you have to understand, and it will be useful when we implement the ICloneable interface. All right, that's all here in this video. There is no demo here. Thank you for watching. Bye.